Alright, chapter 7. The other me who has white hair. I jolted awake and instantly sat up, gasping for breath. My heart hammered against my ribs, the taste of bile lingering uncomfortably at the back of my throat as a wave of nausea passed over me. I blinked in confusion at the sight in front of me. It was Corvin, sitting at a table a few feet away, a cheddar bagel shoved halfway in his mouth. The sight of him there, with his cheeks slightly puffed out and glasses pushed up on his forehead as he read some book or other, was possibly the weirdest thing I'd ever woken up to. We stared at each other for a long time while I tried to work out what was going on. Suddenly it hit me. It's morning! I threw off the blanket someone had covered me with and tried to get to my feet, staggering toward the door. Corvin jumped up to catch me before I hit the ground.
Whoa, calm down. Velo's had to use quite a lot of magic to patch you up. That injury on your hand was pretty bad. You're probably still going to be a bit woozy for a while.
He was right. My stomach was churning and my head felt like it was going to split. But that wasn't my concern at the moment. I have to get home. My family.
We've taken care of that. Your family thinks you went out early this morning with Allie. Everything is fine. I got a text from Danny earlier confirming they're awake and don't seem to suspect anything.
Good call. Very good call. Look at you guys. And your plans. He helped me sit back on the sofa and I groaned slightly, putting a hand to my head. I felt terrible. How...
You don't remember what happened last night?
I shook my head. I must have blacked out before we got back to my house. Corvin just nodded. Considering I'd been clinging to his back throughout a lot of it, I guess that wasn't news to him. And remembering that walk back made me shift uncomfortably. I looked away from him, suddenly embarrassed.
After we got back to your house, we split up with Danny and Elliot. They checked in with the agency to let them know what happened. I helped you back inside so we could lock up and make sure it didn't seem to anyone like you'd run off during the night. I also got you a change of clothes. Then I brought you here.
What about my family?
I left a note on the table explaining that you'd gone out, and I put a tiny sleeping spell on them to make sure they didn't wake up until a time where it would have been conceivable for you to have already left with Allie.
I rubbed my head and stared at him. Were you also able to mimic my handwriting? You put a sleeping spell on my family.
Well, would you have preferred them to wake up and find me in your bedroom in the middle of the night?
I guess not. That definitely wouldn't have gone over well. With Dad, at least. Wait, you went through my stuff?
Only a little. Sorry. I just didn't think you'd want to, be in your pajamas.
Oh, shoot. They'd seen me in my pajamas. I mean, they look like very cute pajamas. In fact, I was still in my poor, ratty, filthy pajamas. I mean, it's not like I slept in anything particularly skimpy, but it was kind of embarrassing to be seen in anything covered in little pink hearts. Aw, sounds adorable. Though I think these pants have had it. No more pink hearts for me. I tried to busy myself with looking through the change of clothes he picked out to make sure I wasn't going to be dressed like a clown for the rest of the day. Girl, look at this man. Look at the style. You really think he's gonna pick out something bad for you? Girl. Something in the neat stack caught my eye and I glared up at him. What, underwear? Do you want to be wearing your old underwear from last night? Girl, never mind. Did you go through my underwear drawer? Corvin seemed a little startled at that question, then looked away awkwardly.
Well, I mean, you needed things. I tried to pick out cute ones. I really liked that black and pink lacy. Oh no.
Alright, never mind. Yep. I gotta stop being physically violent with him. That's enough. Stop! I don't want to hear another word. Not another word.
They're really...
No!
But...
Shh! I held a hand up. I just did not want to hear his opinions about my underwear. I already wanted to find a hole to crawl in without all the details of how he picked out underwear for me. This is taking me back to, like, Toma flashbacks and amnesia. I can't remember, though. Was she buying underwear or swimsuit? I remember him being scandalized, but I can't remember what happened. He touched my underwear. I was going to die of embarrassment. I just knew it.
They really are cute, though.
I told you not to say it! Okay, never mind. I hit him with a cushion anyway. I tried, Corvin. I shoved one of the sofa cushions on his face and pushed him back against the arm of the sofa. He tried to fend me off to no avail.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What is going on in here? We looked up to see Allie and Elliot standing in the door watching us. How long? Elliot's face was distressingly red, and I once again realized that I was only wearing a really thin, torn pajama top. Oh, Elliot, calm down. I quickly grabbed the blanket and wrapped it around my shoulders. I brought you coffee. Ellie held up a white bag and waggled it at me. I breathed a long sigh of relief. Thank God. You're the best. I know. She came into the club room and immediately kicked Corvin off the sofa so she could sit next to me. Not one to give up easily, Corvin just relocated to my other side. Allie handed over the steaming cup and I recognized the Crow logo from lunch the other day. It smells great.
I told her to get the same one you tried the other day.
Oh, the one your brother created? Wait, I was mad at him. I shot him a glare and turned my back toward him as I pulled the lid off and inhaled the deliciously fragrant steam. Ah, it smelled heavenly. How are you? I heard last night got pretty crazy. Yeah. Crazy. Terrifying. I'm not sure which is more appropriate. I stared down at the cup in my hands, unsure what else to say. I didn't think there were words to begin to describe how I felt about last night. I hadn't really thought I'd be doing so much terrified running through the woods when we came back, that's for sure. Will you tell me about it? I didn't even know what to say. Elliot perched on a table nearby, and they all just listened. It's not that I don't want to tell you about it, I'm still trying to process everything too. I was half asleep for a large part of it. And then everything sort of went to bright, sparkly fairy hell. And it all gets a little fuzzy after that. Is this the first time something like this happened? I hesitated. It's not, is it? Yes. And no. It's not the first time I've left my house in the middle of the night without realizing it. It's the first time my hair changed color. The first time I was attacked. So you've gone outside at night a couple of times already? I just nodded, letting out a long, shaky breath. Talking about it was hard, but at the same time I felt somewhat relieved that it wasn't a secret anymore. I am very relieved. At first I thought I was just sleepwalking. But the more it happens, the more it feels like there's someone else in my head. Someone else controlling my body. I looked up at her, tears suddenly spilling down my cheeks. I hated crying. I hated feeling so helpless. I can relate to that. I hastily wiped at my eyes. What do I do? How can I stop this from happening? I don't understand what's happening. Whoa, hey, it's okay. We'll figure this out. She wrapped me in a tight embrace. Why didn't you tell us earlier? I sniffled slightly. I didn't want to worry anyone. I was going to tell Corvin.
Me? Really?
I nodded. But things... happened on Tuesday. Then I didn't see you again.
So you didn't think to tell me?
She sounded hurt, which I suppose I could understand. Yeah, best friend. You've been really busy. I didn't want to add to your stress.
Do it! Add to my stress, please! I don't care if I have another thing to worry about. Just tell me stuff.
I thought I'd tell you after Samhain. I thought I could hold out that long.
If Danny and I knew you were sneaking out in your sleep, we could have been keeping an eye out for you all this time. I don't sleep much at night. At the very least, we could have kept you from wandering so far from home.
I didn't know if it was anything paranormal. I thought maybe I was just sleepwalking due to stress or something. You worried, though. You were hoping it was just sleepwalking, but because you were worried it was paranormal, that's why you didn't say anything. And with everyone so busy with Samhain, I didn't know if I should bother everyone with something that might just be a normal thing.
We're never too busy to help you, no matter what else is going on. You have to trust us a little more.
Allie squeezed me tightly and pulled away, cupping her hands firmly around my cheeks. She looked me dead in the eye as she spoke.
Don't keep things from me again.
Is this when I get the frog punishment?
Pfft. Frogs are for amateurs.
Newt?
I'm way more creative than that, I'll have you know.
She sighed again and released me.
But look, even if we don't know exactly what's going on, there are still ways we can keep you safe. If I'd known about this when I set up the barriers, I might have been able to do one that kept you inside.
And I'm serious about keeping an eye out for you in case you leave your house at night.
Corvin gave him a strange look.
I like Allie's barrier idea better. That way no one has to spy on you while you're in your pajamas.
Oh, Corvin, calm down.
It's not spying.
Corvin pouted, crossing his arms over his chest as he looked up at Elliot.
I don't want you watching her while she's not dressed properly.
I'm sitting here in my pajamas right now.
That's not why I'd be watching her. And what gives you the right to decide that?
He looked kind of pouty, too. Why are we discussing spying on me in my pajamas? Allie cleared her throat.
Anyway, we do also need to figure out what's going on. We can't look for a solution to a problem unless we know the problem is there.
I know,
Listen, you apologized for not being here while I was coping with finding out I'm a witch. Well, I'm here now that you're coping with finding out you're Fae, so try to trust me a little.
I'm sorry. I felt stupid and very, very small. I'd been nothing but trouble to them all ever since I came back, and they were going out of their way to help me. I couldn't let them keep doing that while I just stood around and did nothing at all. I quickly wiped at my eyes and took a long sip of the coffee. No more feeling sorry for myself. I didn't know what was going on, but that was not an excuse to sit around crying. That wouldn't solve a damn thing. Okay, I need to change into my clothes. And then I need a notebook. My journal's at home, but I want to write down everything that happened before I forget. I can transcribe it later. We were past the big hurdle of Samhain. I assumed that with the energies and stuff back to normal, something like last night wouldn't happen again. At least not to that degree. I could do this.
That's my girl.
I think we should stop by the shop as well. Some of the others might be able to help. Whoa, you're taking her to the murder. Is that necessary? If we hadn't found her last night, what do you think would have happened? We still haven't heard back from Velos. He might... I'll get Merle to help, okay?
Your brother, right?
Still.
And I'll go with her. If you're not too mad at me.
Humph. I'm mad. I guess not too mad. I'm not too mad. He beamed at me.
I'm glad.
It doesn't mean I'm not still annoyed, though. He wilted slightly and looked for all the world like a puppy that had just gotten scolded. Good. Against my better judgment, I reached over and gave him a very quick hug. Aww, how sweet. But thank you for helping me last night. That helps make up for other questionable actions that may have happened later. He perked up instantly.
I didn't do anything that questionable.
So he admits they were slightly questionable.
Anyway, maybe for now we should get you changed. You can't go anywhere like that.
I looked down at my dirty, torn clothes. She was definitely right about that. Ooh. I love the shade of blue, by the way. It's all over the place, and I love it. I soon found myself in a bathroom adjacent to one of the gym locker rooms getting dressed, after a hot shower. The pajamas were definitely trash can bound. While I stood in one of the stalls changing, Allie waited for me outside. Now that I had a few minutes to really go over the events from last night, I was finding it hard to believe it was all real. It felt so distant already, like I dreamed it all. I thought about the fairies that attacked me. They were the same ones I saw the night Brenna was in my yard. I wonder why they didn't try to attack them. Sure, I'd been inside, but there weren't any barriers to keep them out. Maybe they needed an invite inside. Or maybe Brenna had prevented it? Was that why she was there in the first place? Was she looking out for me? I found that incredibly difficult to believe. She hated me. Well, I don't know if she hates you. I don't know. I don't know about Brenna. But then again, it wouldn't have been the first time she helped me. Even if she insisted she wasn't trying to help me. What was it she had said? She was just trying to stop them from getting their way? Logically, she could have only meant one thing. The fairies. She wanted to stop them from getting what they wanted. In other words, me? I pulled on the clean pair of jeans, trying not to think about the fact I was wearing underwear Corvin had picked out.
Everything okay in there?
Yeah, I'm nearly finished.
How are you feeling?
Just a bit woozy still. I'm fine. I mean, I'm not, but I will be. I heard her shuffling around and finally poked my head out. I didn't think to ask before, but what were the guys doing out in the woods anyway? Corvin and Danny had split up earlier in the night. A troubled look passed over her face.
Well, to be honest, Brenna told us you were out there. Well, she told Elliot.
Brenna?
Yeah, in her usual vague way. Basically, she just said that if we didn't want to lose you permanently, we better go find you.
I knew it. Allie gave me a long look.
You're not at all surprised to hear that.
Well, no. She's been looking out for me from the start. That bridge incident, and then the other night I saw her in my yard. She, was a cat. At first.
In your yard? What was she doing there?
Well, there were will-o'-the-wisps everywhere. She was just pouncing at them. But, I don't know, at one point she looked straight at me. I think she knows what's going on. Just from things she said here and there.
Well, maybe you can try to ask her at some point.
It's weird because she acts like she doesn't like me, but then she keeps helping me.
Listen, I know she looks human most of the time, but she's Fae through and through. Half the time, I can't even begin to guess what she's thinking.
I leaned against the sink, mulling it over. What happened last night? Do you think this is connected to my disappearances? What if this is what happened back then, too? Except that there was never any evidence I had been attacked. The one who'd been attacked was Spencer. Spencer, who had run screaming out of the woods that he'd been attacked by monsters. Spencer, who had been terrified of me for months and angry at me for years after that. Spencer, who may well have gone through something similar to what I had last night.
I'm not sure we can say one way or the other. but there's definitely the possibility.
But if the fairies attacked him the last time, then why did they attack me this time? Did it have to do with that other me?
Hey, did you happen to have that pouch I gave you last night?
No. I set it on my bedside before I fell asleep. I guess when my body decided to hijack itself, it didn't think about picking it up on the way out.
I think you should try to keep it with you, even if you have to attach it to your clothes. And I want to teach you a simple barrier spell.
I'm going to learn magic?
You're Fae. It's more than possible to teach you this stuff.
Right now.
We may not have another chance before this evening, and I don't want you to spend another night as vulnerable as you were last night.
Okay.
Now listen, this is a really basic charm. It's not going to protect you from something like getting hit by a train, but for something like last night, it should work.
I'll do my best to avoid trains, then.
I'd appreciate it.
Her smile quickly vanished and she was all business.
Okay, crash course ahoy.
I'm all ears, oh wise mentor.
Like with all magic, the strength of this barrier depends on your focus. So no matter how freaked out you are, you have to do your best to clear your head and stay calm.
Easier said than done when you have 1,000 fairies yanking on your hair and trying to scratch out your eyes. She stood about 5 feet from me and took a deep breath. Then she swept her arm out in front of her body in a horizontal arc. Even though I was quite a distance from her, I had the distinct impression of something repelling me further away. Although there wasn't exactly a visible barrier between us. Is that it?
Magic doesn't have to be flashy, just efficient.
Fair enough. So how do I do this?
Calm your mind and imagine that in the pit of your stomach is a ball of light. That light is your magic.
I took a deep breath and did exactly that. Everyone had been talking about things like magic and magic auras for days, but this was the first time I was trying to visualize it myself. I had no idea what I was doing, but as strange as it was, I almost could feel something. Oh, it's a little flame. It was as if, in that moment, a small ball of flame flickered to life. The more I focused on it, the stronger it grew.
Now, just imagine that light forming a barrier all around you. I didn't use an incantation, but they can be really helpful for beginners. It doesn't really matter what you say, though.
I opened one eye and peered at her curiously, a small smile forming on my lips. So my incantation could be coffee snorkel? She made a face at me and rolled her eyes.
Technically, but if you can form a barrier with such a useless incantation, you're probably at a level where you don't need one anyway. The incantation is supposed to help you visualize what you're doing. They're more effective if they're simple and related to what you want to achieve. It can even just be one word like shield or barrier or protect. The more relevant it is, the more likely it'll do what it's supposed to, but what matters is the intent behind it. The arm gesture is another way to direct your magic and help you visualize what you want to do. You should use it along with the incantation.
Alrighty. I took another breath and started from scratch, picturing a ball of light. Like Allie, I swept my arm in a wide arc in front of me. I imagined a wall of energy forming between us, similar to what I'd seen and felt from her. Barrier! Nice, your magic is orange. My fingertips buzzed with what I could only describe as a burst of energy. The air between us thrummed with the same energy I'd felt from Allie, but this time it was pushing her away from me. My eyes flew open in surprise, and the wall fizzled out. Unimpressive, really. But Allie was grinning as if she was happy with those results.
Perfect! I figured you'd catch on fast since Fae are inherently magical.
But it kind of didn't work.
That's just because you lost focus. But if you maintain your focus next time, you'll be able to retain the barrier for at least a few minutes. That's usually long enough. Try to practice it whenever you can. The more you practice, the easier it'll be, and the stronger a barrier you'll be able to produce. A wall barrier might not be the best protection just yet, but if you practice a bit, you'll be able to form one all the way around.
Okay. She grabbed my arm and we went into the hallway together. The elation of actually doing magic was overwhelmed with the weight of last night's memories. I must have looked overwhelmed as I felt... I must have looked as overwhelmed as I felt because Allie squeezed my arm gently.
You alright?
Yeah, this is just... weird. I'm okay. I'll be okay.
You sure?
Yeah. Hey, there's something else I've been wondering.
What's that?
Do you think that just because I'm Fae, I could naturally speak some kind of fairy language without ever having learned it?
I don't know. I don't know much about fairy languages. That's random. Why do you ask?
I'm not sure. I was thinking about last night and being able to understand what the fairies were saying, and the fact it was the twin language Spencer and I had spoken as children. Allie gave me a long, serious look.
Maybe Corvin has a good plan to take you to see the murder.
You think so?
They just know a lot, and what they don't know they can usually find out pretty quickly. They're really well respected, and their information is highly sought after.
Magical information networks. Huh. Well, hello, Velos. When we stepped into the club room, we found Velos lecturing Elliot, Corvin, and Danny, who had arrived at some point.
The library is not a hospital.
I winced slightly. Well, that's definitely about me.
I don't mind that you come to me for healing, but I have told you to be careful. It's bad enough that the agency has you out doing their work in addition to your other duties. It's worse if you actually get hurt while doing it.
Well, I couldn't disagree there.
Sorry. Corvin, you especially should be careful. As you know, your condition is already... I'm fine.
His condition. Yup. I knew it. I knew there was something up with that black stuff.
Maybe so, but with a powerful aura on the loose and lurking nearby. And another thing. Oh look, Nora and Allie are back.
Velos turned around and leveled a glare directly at me. I gave him a sheepish smile. I wasn't sure what he could yell at me about. I was the innocent victim in all this. At the very least, I was trying to look as innocent as possible to avoid a lecture. Hi? Torn between thank you for healing me, but I feel like he's just gonna yell at me. He's probably gonna yell at me regardless. Well, Corvin did try to throw me under the bus, so I think I'm going to respond in kind. I gotta go. I think we have the wrong room. I tried to push Allie back in the hall to escape Velus's death glare. He was across the room before we could get far, his hand clamped on my shoulder in an iron grip. He leveled a rather frightening smile at me.
Not so fast.
I swallowed nervously as he rather forcefully led me to a chair and made me sit. Well, I tried.
I have something I'd like to discuss with you, Miss Lewis.
Oh dear.
What I was saying before being interrupted. All of you, and all the students in this club, are under my care. I don't particularly enjoy seeing any of you come to harm.
Under your care?
What exactly do you think is the purpose of a club sponsor?
You're the club sponsor? You don't have to give me that look. It's not like anyone told me.
I would appreciate it if you would be more careful. Your injuries in particular were very bad this time. I have no idea what any of you were thinking. It was stupid and reckless.
I couldn't exactly help that I...
All right. We'll be careful about taking Nora patrolling with us again. No worries.
So you lied to Velas about what happened to me. or the reasons I was out there. Patrolling with him? But I didn't. Corvin clapped a hand over my mouth, pulling me to my feet.
No more getting hurt. Promise. We will absolutely be careful. Corvin Beltran, what on earth is going on?
Corvin pulled me to the door and, after a hurried knock, yanked it open. Velos made a movement as if to stop us, but Corvin had already stepped through the door, dragging me with him.
We have to be going. I promised to take her to the cafe for her date. That's right. Remember, we promised to go together.
Wait,